Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. So in this video, what I'm going to do is try to cover three things. Is number one, we're going to go over the new Gauntlet maps for Season 9. The Forerunner server here has just finished Season 9 on the Guild Wars season. So we're going to jump into the Gauntlet. And then Season 10 is coming up here as well. And we actually get a look at the new maps for this season as well. Not only that, I'm also going to add on some Season 9 attacks that I have accumulated throughout the season, both here in Forerunners and the Global. You can kind of peek at them, see kind of what kind of strategies we're using to beat some of these defenses. As you're going to see, there's going to be a common theme with the beginning because a lot of them include Lady A. That is something that I'm trying to get good at, to try to defeat those type of defenses. But then after that, I added a couple of nightmares, cultist, the esotericist, and there's a couple of arbor fights in there for you, so you can kind of get a general idea as to how we're combating this thing. And as I'm releasing this video, things are going to change for the rest of Season 9 in Global and for Season 10 here in Forerunners, because we have all the new demon soldiers popping in. And some of these guys, they're menacing, and they're going to add an interesting spin into things. As I previewed in my Boreas video, and the reason one that we just came out with is these units here that can apply the Winter's Bite. They're going to be really hard to defend against. We're going to have to bring them down as soon as we can. And then, of course, we know these here, the chaotic ones, are going to be just as powerful. This captain, because he revives and he puts the mark on the defense, is going to lead to a little bit more of, even though they kind of nerfed him a little bit, he's still going to be powerful. There's going to be a lot of play here for the Chaos Shaman. So those are the things that are changing. So let's start, before I go and play the clips, let's start with the Gauntlet. So here's what the map looks like. Let me see if I can get into the garrison. So let me start on the keep, because this is the one some people are really interested in. Some of you like to cover the keeps. So we're going to have a little bit of, in terms of health, it's going to be the same, it appears. They didn't change that, at least for this season. So we still have here the 90 health on this, and then the 60 health on the tower. So that's going to stay the same. But here's the keeps map, so you can kind of see where the demon soldiers are going to track, and at the same time we can kind of get an idea as to which tiles are going to be available for ground units and which tiles are going to be available for the platform units. So they did add a couple more platforms. They switched things around. They opened up ground tiles where there were platform tiles, and then they started moving things around a little bit. So this is now how everything is going to track here. So let me grab a couple of units here. There's a platform, and here's a ground unit, just to kind of get you a sense of where things are going to lie. So we know from the, so here are the ground tiles. So we know from the Season 9 map that everything kind of started up at this point here. So they kind of took that away and they pushed things back a little bit. So now we have this one here, and then it goes to this 3 here. And then we have this additional one that they added here. So that kind of opens things up a little bit. And then you can see here now we have platform units up top. So that's definitely something that you can plan on, trying to form some type of defense here that can, be competent, to say the least. So I think that there's going to possibly be some play here with some of the platforms opening up here, and then this ground tile here. So definitely I can see some options here that are going to make this kip a little bit more tolerable, but again, it's going to be hard to defend with all these new demon soldiers coming into play here. So here on the back, if you put them right here, you can see here that you have these platforms here available to you. They did kind of take away some of the stuff over here, but they did open up some ground units. So there's some ground units you can play here. So there's definitely something here that can be put in place here, as long as you don't get bombed. But that's an option there. And of course, the last point of interaction that you could possibly deal with here is here, and then try to build around that. But it's going to be a little bit difficult to do that. A lot of defenses, if we saw anything on the back here being placed for Season 9, it had to do with piercers. There's some type of interplay with piercers that was being done in that regard, but they didn't held up very well, so you didn't see a lot of them in top Overlord play. But that's kind of how things have changed now for the keep. Now let me go over to the tower, because the way that I'm seeing the tower, this one is going to be a little bit difficulty. We're gonna have difficulty defending that. Let me pick the one here where I've been testing some stuff here. So let me pick on this one here. I'm just gonna bring this over so I can show you exactly how that map is going to lay out and how the demon soldiers is gonna move. So we have the demon soldiers now coming in exactly the same way that they did before. And if you want to go back here, it's going to be tough, especially with no ground tiles, and we have a couple of platforms here. Some people were using Ingrid up here, so if you wanted to try to do that, you can. If you put a platform unit here with the tank here, this because of the range, this is going to be targetable by archers. So be very careful with that platform. But that's exactly how this looks now. So they open things up a little bit up here. Now, they did add some platforms up here, not in one ground tile. So there could be a play here. You just got to be careful how you build this fighter. Okay? And you got to make sure that it's protected well enough. But they are giving you options, at least, in that regard, right? To try to come up with something. But that fighter needs to be protected really well if you're going to come up with something like this. Okay? And try not to use the platform in the back, because they'll just get sniped with bookkeepers if you're not protecting things well enough. But they kind of open up that a little bit so you can kind of play around with it. The unfortunate part here is that they did eliminate this ground tile here. So for the Gauntlet maps, essentially is they just shifted things around. Where there was a ground tile, they locked it out, or they transformed it into a platform tile, and then vice versa. They took some platform tiles away and then just moved some stuff around in terms of where they're going to put the ground tiles. But this is how the Gauntlet maps are looking like this season. So this is what we're going to have to play around with and try to test things out and see if there's anything viable that we can come up here in terms of the tower and the keep. And for your season 10 map, this is what we're going to be looking at. So I'm going to start again with the keep. So let me start with the keep here so you can kind of get a general idea as to how the demon soldiers are going to track here. And you can already see the platforms and the ground tiles available. So now let me bring this in. And I am going to bring some fighter here. Let's do this, and then some platform units. There we go. Just as an example. I don't have anybody built, but I just to kind of give you a general sense as to how things are going to look. So first point of engagement here that you can possibly have is right here, and then you build around that, right? So at least they gave you something here. So if you have one that can extend 3 tiles, you could possibly make a play there. And then you have these platform units to play around here with. And if you do decide to use the style for a fighter, make sure they're built tanky. That's essentially what it's going to come down to. All right, then I do see a potential here to build something back here if you want to. You just got to make sure you stay on the back line here so nothing gets sniped off. And then you can possibly protect it. If you have somebody like Imred, you can do something like that. You put them in the back here. Just make sure that it's tanky. It doesn't get sniped out. Here, there's a possibility. There is a possibility. I'm not saying it's going to work, but there's an Ingrid tile here that could work. We'll see. It all depends on the play, right? And how you build things and how you then put the support around it. But there's another possibility there. So those are the 2 points. Now, the one that I was really right away that I was hesitant about even talking about was this one here with this point of engagement. I think that if you're going to do anything here, you're going to have to do it with either the tank here or the tank in this tile, and then build everything on the back. All right. Why do I say that? Well, let me put these guys here just as a demo, and let me back out and I'll show you why. Okay, so for this keep and anything here in the middle, so right away the first thing that I thought of, same problems that we were having with the keep map and the previous in season 9, it's going to be this type of formation here, and I don't think you're gonna wanna even think about toying around with this, because they're targetable and things can get sniped out, unfortunately. And see, so it's just not going to work. Anything, like I said, anything here, if you decide to put a defender there, you gotta make sure that it's just protected well, it's a tank unit, and it's not gonna get sniped off really easy. So if you are going to build anything, and I think the bookkeepers are gonna do the same thing, just to make sure, because I didn't. Yeah, so same thing. So if anything here, just it's not worth building. So again, they opened it up, they added more platform units, but they didn't take into account how the demons earliest behave. So front here gonna be one of the engagement points. Possibly on this side here is gonna be one that people are gonna prefer. But if you do anything here, you're pretty much making sure that the tank does not get sniped off easy, or that you protected enough to make sure that they're not being taken advantage of. And then anything else that you build around that tank has to be moved to the left of the tank. You just won't be able to use this ground and platform tiles. Okay, to close it out with, I'm going to show you here the map for the tower. Here for season 10, so you can kind of get a general idea as to how the demon soldiers are going to track here. So there's going to be a little bit of dip here, and then they're going to come down, and again they're going to do another zigzag here to come up, and then there's another point of engagement up here. So let's go into the map and actually look at it closely, so you can kind of see where the ground tiles and everything is laying out. So again, this is just me playing around with it because I wanted to see how this would interact. So that's something that you can definitely try to do when this opens up. But as you can see here, we have the 3 ground tiles on the front. So definitely this is going to be an opportunity to build something around these tiles here. And then we have the 3 here. So we're given a little bit more flexibility on how we can build things, especially with how many ground tiles there are. But depending on where we place them, which I will cover in the future, in terms of the actual season 10 strategy, you just got to make sure you use the right platforms, otherwise you're gonna get sniped off. So just that's the only concern that we have here when it comes to utilizing some of these platforms that they opened up. So again, one point of engagement is going to be down here if you want to use that one. If you want to just do it right here and then start building with any units that can either extend out this far, or yeah, something like, so you just start extending out this far, you can start building around that and pick the right platforms to make sure they don't get sniped off. And of course, if you wanted to, you could back up a little bit here, just make sure that these units are not targetable by gunner guards, or if they get frozen with the winter bite, that they have an opportunity to catch up and get unfrozen, right? So there's just so many changes in how demon soldiers are going to attack defenses, that strategies are going to have to really come into play when we build them for season 10. So that's how this is how they kind of open things up a little bit. So if you just kind of start getting ideas as to how you can place your defenders and then build around that, that's definitely going to help. So we place them all the way in the back here. We pretty much start restricting the number of tiles that we have available to us, so we just got to be careful with that. So I wouldn't go anything too back. And then if you start putting stuff here, you're really restricting yourself. But I'm pretty sure that some savvy people are going to be able to optimize this in some way, shape, or form to try to see if they can build something really good here. So that's kind of how the season 10 keep and tower maps are looking right now. So, but this is just kind of a preview just to give you an idea of what's coming up. And then once we start getting closer to season 10 in global, we will do a more comprehensive strategy guide on how to put a proper defense around. That was the preview. Season 9 Gauntlet map, Season 10 the seasonal map, and then the only other things that I wanted to highlight, I can't garrison here in the keep, but 30 extra health was added to each one of the defenses, and that is because they added this new feature here that you're probably going to see as soon as Season 10 opens up in the global server, where 4 guild members are going to be appointed where they can do extra attacks. So they'll have a total of 8 to do. So it would all depend on those that are organizing guild wars in your guild as to whether you're going to use those extra attacks to open things up, or you're going to save them for people that have high BP where they might actually be able to break the tougher defenses. It's going to be a little bit of extra strategy, but those 4 will get 12 extra attacks on the table for each guild to try to go bring these down, and that's why the health of the keep was increased. So just to make sure that some guilds don't bulldoze a weaker opponent. But that's exactly how everything is panning out for season 10 here right now in the Forerunner server, and then very, very soon in the global server. So with that, now I just leave you with a reel of GvG attacks that I have done in season 9. Hopefully you find those helpful, and it kind of gives you an idea of how to tackle some of the popular defenses that we are seeing for this season. But again, things are going to change. They're coming. New demon soldiers, as you start unlocking them, you're going to see that some of these guys are menacing. And I can tell you right now, one of my favorite ones that I have not unlocked yet is this guy, okay? This guy here, if allies die around him, he gains HP, he gains attack. You'll see he'll get big, and he's tougher to bring down. And when he is big, he chews through tanks. And you're going to see that in action as soon as people start leveling him, because now we have void cores that we can farm. And if you build enough void cores, you can just slam him into him. They don't restrict it. If you have the void cores, you want to upgrade him to level 5 in a snap, boom, you can do it. So it'll be fun. It's going to be a new fun dynamic when it comes to Guild Wars. So we'll see what people think once everything is up and running in the global server. Thank you all very much for tuning and watching. I will see you all in the next video. And apparently I don't say enough, but hey, do me a favor and hit that subscribe and like button. It helps.